How should Mayor be treated? He's called a vigilante. He's told he's not religious, so he can't be trusted. He's too angry, some say. And others say that him and JCW are conducting a witch hunt.
I always tell people, take sex out of the whole thing. Imagine you would have someone who goes around beating up people. And he's uncontrollable. No one would think twice to report him to the police.
How many children have to be molested before we really protect them and stand up and make a difference?
My grandmother, Mrs. Frida Bistomsky, knows that I'm speaking here tonight, and she is extremely proud of me.
Why are we so obsessed with numbers? Why are we so obsessed with statistics? 1 in 4, 1 in 5.
If one Jew is in pain, we need to do something about it.
The numbers that I know is that if 1 is not everything, 6 million very quickly becomes nothing.
She is proud of me because she knows I have come here to speak the truth. And as a survivor of the Holocaust, she knows how important the truth is.
She shared the story, and Mayor told her what he tells every single victim of sexual abuse. You are my sister, you are my brother, you are my family. I'm with you, I support you. I will do everything I can to get you justice.
I mustered up every ounce of courage to get my parents into a room and tell them the most devastating news of their lives. Close your eyes and imagine for a moment what it might feel like when your own child tells you that the person that you hired to work for you molested them.
I would like to now take a moment of silence for the children behind me that have been abused. Some of them raped, some of them molested, some of them sodomized. No one to turn to, no one did anything. Instead, they're living their lives, and I would say walking dead. These children are your children. These were the ages when they were abused, some of them. Imagine this, your little Chayla, your little Moishala. And this is what JCW stands for. These children over here and hundreds more that don't have a voice. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. And when they do say it, they're not believed.
He told my parents that they had absolutely no moral, legal, ethical, or halachic reason to say anything about the abuse to anybody.
And then I started noticing, as I was handling court as a young DA, I was doing what's called a preliminary hearing, but I was handling a vast amount of felonies in my first year. And I would see the pews, and they would be packed shoulder to shoulder, 2 rows, shoulder to shoulder, people sitting close to one another. And I would look around, and these aren't my witnesses. Who are these people here for? And inevitably, every single time, it was a sex crimes DA. And I'd say to the sex crimes DA, hey, can I ask you, what's this case? And are these your witnesses? And they would say, no, these aren't my witnesses. That's the perpetrator's supporters. And that was what struck me early in my career, that this is something that affects every segment of our population. It's not just Jews, it's not just Christians or the church, it affects every segment of our population. And I'd see a lot of people sitting there in support. And I'd say, can I see that case? I want to look at that case. I want to see what it's about. And I'd look at the case, and there's 3 victims who are coming forward. There's a recorded confession. There's no way this guy's getting out of it. Why are they here to support?
It's like Benny Ford was mentioning, all of a sudden people have compassion for the perpetrator. It's amazing. Because I tell you, it has to do with sex. People are extremely uncomfortable. They get uncomfortable. But the truth is that, the only way to stop it is to publicize it.
And so in sex abuse, the legislature's recognized that this is something that is going to affect a person for life. The offender is going to be affected for life, and he's always a threat to reoffend. And I as a parent, or you as a parent, or a society, deserves the right to know that if your neighbor is a threat to your children.
I want to tell you again, it's mamish bekuach nefesh. If you would have an individual will go in and sneak into schools and poison the food, no one would think twice we should report him. He looks like some Chassidish Yid, but no one think twice. People molest children. It's mamish bekuach nefesh.
You don't get a free shot at a child. You don't get to abuse a child and then say, you know what, it happened 25 years ago, my sin is forgiven.
And often people say, well, you go to therapy. Therapy doesn't heal the person, helps them cope with life, have a relationship. It doesn't disappear. It's not like you have broke a bone and you put a cast on it and they're healed. They struggle with it daily, all the time.
What did they deserve? What did they deserve to have this horrific, can't even explain, happen to them?
JCW's mission is not to bring Jews home, but I'm telling you tonight, if you stand up, if the survivors stand up, we will do what Hashem wants us to do, and that is to bring every Jew home. But as long as the hypocrisy continues, as long as the silence continues, there will be more and more tragedies. It has to end.
It's our responsibility as a community to make sure to end this.
Look at every single Jewish child as your child. Your children are my children. They're Hashem's children. They're all of our children. If you know of someone else's child that was abused, you go over to the parent. You say, I'm with you, I support you if you go forward to the police. I stand by your side. You go over to that victim and you tell him the exact same thing.
JCW will not apologize for how we choose to repair what others have broken. We will unequivocally and unapologetically stand in support of victims of sexual abuse. If I am asked what criteria land someone on the wall of shame, I will say molesting a child. No ifs, ands, or buts. If I am asked if I believe in tshuva, I will respond with, do you believe in justice? If I am asked if a predator can be healed, I will say, what are you doing so victims can be healed? If I am asked why JCW exposes cases of 20 years ago, and if I feel badly about it, I will ask how badly they felt when Adolf Eichmann was killed decades after the Holocaust. If I am asked about the family of the abuser, I will respond with the number of the abuser and say, ask him, and I hope that number is in a state or federal prison. If I am asked if JCW has rabbinical support, I will say I don't need a rabbi to tell me that molesting or raping a child is wrong. If I am asked if we take responsibility for the suicide of Levi Moskowitz, if I am asked if Shalom Ber Levitansky engaged in consensual and therefore wasn't guilty, if I am asked if Mendel Tevel should be defended because it's innocent until proven guilty and he still has not been proven guilty in a court of law, I will offer no response. No response. The only question JCW will be asking, and it's a question we will pose to ourselves, is what have we done today to help victims of sexual abuse? I'm here today to say I am done defending JCW. I will no longer respond to every single criticism thrown our way. I've sat at Shabbos table after Shabbos table, meal after meal, defending case after case of JCW. I will no longer do it. It is beneath JCW to be asked those questions. JCW will be asking the questions. It'll be asking the questions of abusers. Why did you touch a child? It'll be asking the questions of community leaders. What are you doing to make sure there are no future victims of sexual abuse?
Because this I can tell you with certainty. We have every moral, legal, ethical, and halachic obligation to do everything we can to address child sexual abuse within our frum communities.